plan.
No.
You didn't. You're tattling on yourself. So what did you do then?
Just tried to keep it in play. Those pins out there today were not very nice. Even if you had a short club in your hand, it still was very challenging. So to shoot two over for how the course played, I mean, it wasn't as windy, which was nice. You felt like you could have attacked a little bit more, but where the pins were, you had to be very careful. But yeah, I just didn't stick to the game plan. Wasn't aggressive right out of the gate, was just kind of lollygagging my way through the first couple holes to kind of get a feel for how the day goes, which is what I normally do, which is what I said I wasn't going to do. So yeah, I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm just going to go out guns blazing.
We like it when you go out guns blazing.
I know.
It gives us a good show to watch.
Exactly. Left putt short all day, was not going at pins, was just trying to get it in the middle of the green so I didn't, short side myself and have that awkward hard chip shot, or played very safe.
So is going out more aggressive something you're really going to put in forefront of mind tomorrow then?
Gonna try, yeah. I mean, that's what I did yesterday, and I felt like it really paid off. Trying to, obviously it depends on where the pin is to see how aggressive you can be. But today I was just so worried about the miss and not worried about committing to the shot and hitting a good shot. So I found myself having 30 and 40 footers all day. So for 2 over, for how far of putts I've had today, it was actually pretty good.
All right, you'll take it. Still in there. Reminder to everyone on Zoom, raise your hand, we'll call on you, but we'll start here with Jeff.
Brittany, I would think it's a shock to your system when you play around the golf and don't make a birdie. But the flip side is you made so many pars and played steady enough to keep yourself right there. So is there some satisfaction in that?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. I was actually thinking about that because yesterday, Christine, you asked me for one of the birdies, and I literally couldn't remember. So I was like, oh, yeah, I just hit a good shot and a good putt. And then later that night, I was like, oh, yeah, that was a really good birdie. So now I don't have to think about it. But, yeah, it's obviously towards the end that I was pressing to make a birdie because I didn't want to have a round without a birdie because there was holes that you could attack. There was holes that I had wedges into, and it just didn't seem to work out. So as long as I kept it close, I felt like in the past I would have been so worried about making the cut and not really focusing on what I was trying to do that I probably would have shot 75, 76 today. So 2 over wasn't that bad.
And in a test like this, is a lot of it just hanging in?
Absolutely, yeah. When you make one bogey and you're like, oh gosh, this is going to start escalating, because those pins were really tough and they're very subtle. Like number 10, I felt like I hit it right at the pin and then it fell off the right somehow. So you have to be very careful of the slopes. You really got to it's really a fun course though, because you can play it off a lot of slopes and get it close. You don't have to hit it right at the pin. You can kind of hit some bank shots, which is really fun. So your imagination on the golf course, I think this golf course really, if you can imagine and you can hit better shots. Beth Ann?
Did you catch much of the Augusta National Women's Amateur last year? Jennifer Kupcho's playing well again this week. Do you remember?
I didn't, but I know she's a phenomenal player.
I was just going to say, I wondered if you watched any of it, but
I
guess not.
I did watch the college event a couple days ago, though.
Have you played with her at all?
I have not, no.
Well, then you can't help me at all with
I'm
that
sorry.
story.
They are wearing the same shirt today.
Are we?
Yes.
Well, there is that. What's the? Were you giving yourself pep talks out there? To try to turn it around.
There was a couple putts, I think, on the back nine where I made like 5 or 6 footers to save par to keep the kind of round going, and I would look at Missy, my caddy, and be like, "Okay, let's go. Here we go." And then it still didn't happen. I was still, making the 5-footer on the next hole to save my par. So made a lot of really good putts. Still left a lot of them short. The uphill, I don't know. The first couple holes, I came up short with the irons a lot, so I don't know if it was just because it was so cold and just needed to add a little bit more early out of the gate. And then the uphill putts, I just, heaven forbid you run it by 3 feet and then you got the 3-footer coming back. But when you're leaving them 3 feet short, it doesn't really matter. And my dad always jokes and says, if you get it past the hole, at least you see which way it breaks on the way back so you know how to play it. So it makes total sense to just knock them by. I just wasn't doing that again.
Joe?
You talked about coming out guns blazing tomorrow, but will you be giving yourself pep talks on the range too?
Earlier, yeah. I'm going to go to bed tonight and think of being aggressive tomorrow.
Yeah, but how do you see tomorrow?
I feel like I'm in a good spot. I haven't seen the leaderboard. I don't look at the leaderboard, but I know it should be pretty close. So it's probably better to be a little bit behind so I can be the one chasing. I feel like that's more how I can play my best. So I feel like I'm in a really good spot. Just going to go out tomorrow and try to be more aggressive and take on some of the pins and have a little bit more fun with it and play a little bit more free and see what happens.
Will you do some prep tonight once the whole locations come out, or will you just step to the tee tomorrow?
Step on the tee. That's
Right.
just too much for me.
Anything else?
That's perfect.
All right, go FaceTime with the baby.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brittany.
guys.